All right, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a mathematical model from a set of data. So why would you want to make a mathematical model? Well, a mathematical model is like an equation, but the question is, how do you get to an equation? Sometimes it's just like a formula that you see on your physics helper or whatever, and this is going to show you how to make your own based on data. So I have a set of data here that shows diameter and circumference of different objects. So I'm going to go through a lab that we didn't do. I'll save you the time. So in this lab, this is what we do. So you take a round object. It could be like a ball, a cylinder, a cup, whatever. And what we did was we just measured the diameter across here and then took a piece of string, put it around the outside of here tightly, and then measured the circumference there. So if only there is a way to figure out what the relationship between them is. So I'm going to show you how we do this. So I'm going to skip a couple steps in here. The skipping the steps part comes from putting this data that we collected into LoggerPro and then getting a graph out of it. So I'm going to switch directly to getting the graph, but what you do is go and put this in LoggerPro. And you need to make a graph with a curve fit. All right, and in general, almost all of the things that we're going to do are going to have linear fits. So what does that mean? It means that when I graph this data, if I put diameter, we're going to put that on the x-axis, and then we're going to put circumference on the y-axis. So when we do this, show version, it's going to look kind of like this, right? So here's what LoggerPro spits out, and then this is how you're going to take what you got from LoggerPro. We're not done. We need to turn this into something that would mean something to someone. So the nice thing about LoggerPro is that it does all the math for you. So you don't have to go and try to find the slope of this graph because, well, we have this nice line, but it gives you the slope right here. See, it tells you the slope and the y-intercept. And we're going to go from what is our y equals mx plus b relationship. That means something to math teachers. It doesn't mean a lot to people who are doing science. So we're going to take it into something that would mean something that you could turn into an equation on a physics helper. All right, so here's what we're going to do. All right, most important things that you need to know from your line fit or your curve fit. We need to know the slope. We need to note on here that we have units of slope, and we also want to know what's the y-intercept. Now, you might look at this graph and say, does this matter? So does the y-intercept matter? Or is it so close to zero that it doesn't really matter? So I'm going to show you a trick to figure out if it matters or not also. We just want to get it. So the thing is that we have all this data that goes, well, we measured things that were up to over 100 centimeters in width or in diameter. So does having a really, really tiny y-intercept, does that actually mean anything? All right, so let's switch to how to make the mathematical model. All right, and here's how we're going to do it. I'll label out our steps. So in our first step, step 1, what you're going to do is you're going to list your linear equation. So this is our starting equation. Where did I get that? I got it from here. So the reason that I'm listing this is that you could have something that doesn't look like a line, something that looks more like a curve. So it could be a parabola. It could be something that was like an exponential curve. So we need to have what's our starting equation. And this one is linear equation. So here we go. We have our y equals mx plus b. All right. And what do these things mean? Well, in step 2, I'm going to list the meanings. So my y, really what this means is this is the variable on the y-axis. This is my y variable. And what does that mean? Well, m typically stands for, that's our slope, right? We learned that in algebra class. What does x mean? X means, mx, I don't have any symbol between them, so I'm multiplying them. So it's the slope times my x variable. which in this case is going to be diameter. And then I'm adding, the B on here stands for my y-intercept. All right, and now the reason that we do this is that our slope is probably going to mean something. The y-intercept also probably going to mean something if we have one. All right, now I'm going to do another step, which is I'm going to say, what did we actually get for each of these, right? So what is my y variable? Well, I look up here, I look at my graph, and I see, oh, it's circumference. So I'm just going to write in the word circumference here. So the circumference is equal to my slope. Now I have a slope on here that's a number, right? So I have 3.12. 3.12 times the x variable. I'm going to use a dot instead of an x, just so it doesn't get mixed up on here. My x variable is diameter. Plus my y-intercept, which is 0.02. All right, now I skipped a step in here, which is usually this part needs units. So let's see what our units are. I go up here, and if I did this properly in LoggerPro and enter the units in, it will give me a unit as part of the linear fit. So this says centimeters per centimeter. Well, if in chemistry you learned how to cancel out units like this, if I have centimeters divided by centimeters, those both go away. It actually means I have no unit for this. So when I wrote this in 3.12, I actually meant it. But if your slope had something like meters over seconds, you would write in what the unit is. It's just that this one happens to be in centimeters per centimeter or no units at all. All right. So this is my third step, which is, this is our intermediate model. So the last thing is I need to do something called the 5% rule, and that's trying to figure out, do I actually need this? Do I need it to be a y equals mx plus b relationship, or can I get rid of this y-intercept? So I'm going to switch to another piece of paper, and we're going to try that out. So here's the 5% rule. All right, 5% rule. All right, in the 5% rule, we're going to compare what's the y-intercept to the highest y value. And then we're going to look at it, and if it's less than 5%, then we're going to throw out the y-intercept. So here's what here's what the 5% rule is. We want to compare, here's my y-int. I'm going to divide it by highest y value. Really what that means is the largest y value, which could be something that's a really negative thing. And we want to see, is it less than 5%? All right, so here, and I'm going to take the absolute value of this, so negative numbers don't matter, right? Because I know that, for example, negative 120 is less than 5%. But in this case, we want to look at the absolute value. So we need to have something that's between negative 5% and positive 5%. Oh, also, I'm going to multiply this by 100% to convert it from a decimal point into a percentage. So here we go. All right. Now I need to go back and look at my data to find out what the highest y value is. And I need to look at what's the y-intercept. So if I look at my graph, I have my y-intercept is 0.02. And that's in centimeters. Let's see, hopefully since they're both y values, they should have the same units on here. So I have 0.02 centimeters, and I'm going to divide that by my maximum y value, which in this case is, well, here's my y values. So the largest one I have on here is 318.1. All right. and I'm going to multiply that by 100%. All right, now this is embarrassing because I don't have a calculator on me. Hang on a sec. Let's go to the calculator. Do you have a calculator? All right, so what I get out of this is I get 0.0062%. And is this less than 5%? Yes, it is. Right? So this means we're going to, in our final equation, we're going to ditch the y-intercept. All right, so now let's go back to our mathematical model. Here we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write out the final model on here. And when you're doing this, you would want to show show your work for the 5% rule. On here, I just did it on a separate piece of paper. So our final model is that we're going to write in that the circumference is equal to, according to our data, 3.12 times the diameter. Now, the last thing that you have to do is you need to make sure that so this is, again, according to the data, this is the model that we're getting. The more data that you get, the better that your model is going to be. So if I look at this, I could say, I feel like I learned something in geometry about the relationship between diameter and circumference. And what I learned is that from math is that the circumference is pi times the diameter, right? So is this close to a known equation? Is 3.12 close to pi? I mean, I would say it's pretty close to this. So usually what we get when we have these slope things, they're going to mean something. So you want to look at what the units of slope are. That might give you a hint. Sometimes it's a couple different variables mixed together, in which case it's going to get lost in a number. But doing multiple equations can help you figure out, maybe this is maybe it's a constant like pi. Maybe it's not a constant and it depends on something like mass or whatever, right? So those are things that you'll be able to figure out with the help of your group mates and your physics teacher. In this case, I know that it's close to my known equation. So good job with our measurements. All right, and that's making a mathematical model. Again, the steps are you want to write out what equation are you fitting it to. That in this case, it's a linear equation, y equals mx plus b. Step 2 is you're literally just going to write, it's like showing your work, you're saying what each of these things in the equation mean. Step 3 is you're going to substitute in the values that you got from your linear fit on LoggerPro. And then step 4, not shown, is the 5% rule. And then step 5 is you're writing what's your final model with or without a y-intercept, depending on what the 5% rule gave you. And that's it. That's how to make a mathematical model. And in this case, we found the relationship between the diameter and circumference is you multiply 1 by pi.